And good tips on like the, I guess, the sales cycle in general for sellers in general. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's been a year or more since I took it, but at the time, yeah. And I think a lot of the stuff that I do on my team now mimics a lot of their systems and models. So.
Thank you. Okay, so when with sellers, the 28th or no, March 3rd. So that's March 3rd here in our office from 9 to 3. We started this last month and I didn't tell anyone here about it because we were kind of just telling all of our like Stringham graduates about it. But then I had a couple agents who were like, oh, my husband's like finishing and he needs test prep. I wish I would have known. So I'm just going to put this out there. We're probably going to have Kevin Swenson come in every month. And he's awesome. He used to actually write the state exam. So if you have a friend or a family member who is like almost done with their course and they need to take test prep, his is awesome. I took it back in 2013 when I was first licensed and I just breezed through the exam. Like I was done in like 25 minutes. Like he just prepped me so well. So that's $75 and that will be here March 18th from 12 to 5. Any questions on that? Or anything so far? Okay, March Madness. This is really fun. This is kind of Angie Fisher's baby, her little project. She wants it, and she's not here this week, so she'll give us more details, but she wants to gather us all for a script off every morning before team meeting for the whole month of March. And there will be prizes for winners. So she'll give us more details on how that will look. But come next week, it's March 1st next week. So come next week at 10:30. From 10:30 to 11, we'll do script offs. I know she's going to make the most seasoned agents go first. So you're going to script off with each other and we're going to have a bracket, just like the March Madness bracket. So that'll be really fun. So next week's team meeting is going to be really great. We've got the script off and then the family reunion panel. So we've got 5 agents who went to a family reunion in person that are going to come back and just panel style share what they learned, like all their best golden nuggets that they got out of family reunion. They're going to share that with us. So that'll be really good. And then afterwards, Gary Keller's vision speech. Did anyone get a chance to watch that? It aired at like 7:30 a.m. on Sunday, our time. So I kind of doubted anyone would. So because that was kind of a weird time, we're just going to play it back. Whether or not you got a digital ticket, just stick around after and feel free to watch it. So that'll be right after team meeting. So you can eat your lunch and watch it. It'll go till 2:30. So kind of long, but it'll be good. Okay, listings. Switch gears here to listings. Okay. Is Ryan Johnson here? No. So he's got those are the condos, right? The new construction condos price at $350 in Spanish Fork. Marcy Hess. Oh, that's right. I talked to her on the phone yesterday. That's the one that she was telling you. She's like, I'm going through my spreadsheet. There's so many. Yeah, crazy times. 450. So that is under contract. Liz Carter. No. Okay, 250. It's like land in Salt Lake. How big is that? 20 acres for anyone who's looking for land. Okay, Trikel Davis. 289 on Redwood Road, some land in Riverton. Sue Ann Hoffman. 455 Saratoga Springs, looks like new construction townhome. And how big is that? 1,600 square foot townhome. Sue Ann again, same thing, 472 for a townhome, another townhome. She's got a handful. Connie Welch, she here today? Okay, Connie's got 3.7, so this is commercial space, yep. In Emery County, Green River. And that's it. Start my video. Oh, there we go. Technical difficulties today. Sorry, guys. Okay. And I think, okay, broker moment. This is Dean's slide that he threw in here. Not really. I'm gathering info at family reunion. Be nice to the brokers of the day. So brokers of the day, Greg Lemon on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Peter Morkel's Thursday. And then First Colony. Do we have someone from First Colony presenting? Yeah. Here's the timer. Tell me your name. Reed. Okay, Reed from First Colony. Go for it.
All right, so for the mortgage moment today, we are going to do some rapid fire mortgage acronyms. Okay, so you should know most of these, but hopefully you'll learn a couple today. So ARM, what does ARM stand for? Awesome, adjustable rate mortgage. CD, closing disclosure. FHA, Federal Housing Administration. Close. FRM, fixed rate mortgage. HUD, awesome. LE, no, LE, loan estimate. Loan estimate, so we send that in the beginning. LTV, loan to value. MIP, mortgage insurance premium. PITI. Perfect. VA. Awesome. ATR. Bonus points for this one. ATR. No. Ability to repay. So we have to verify all their income, documents, work history to make sure they can repay. AUS. Bingo. Automated underwriting system. USDA. U.S. Department of Agriculture. PMI. Private mortgage insurance. IRLA. URLA. IRLA. Nope. Uniform residential loan application. So this just changed. This changed last year, and it's really in depth. It's the application we send out. CTC. Clear to close. HOI, last one. HOI. Homeowners insurance. Bingo. Good job, guys. Thank you.
Okay. On to the power moment. So we've got Riley Condor and Peter Morkel. They're going to talk to us about how they level up their listing presentation, how you can level up your listing presentation and win with your sellers. So give it up for Riley.
I see the clicker. Does it have a laser? Okay, sweet. How do you do it? This one? Okay. So I'm gonna run you guys through my listing presentation real quick. So this is something that I designed with Caden. Kind of want to give you guys an idea of how I do things. And I suck at talking in front of people, so give me a break. Guide to selling your property. So normally I'll sit down with my clients before we obviously jump into numbers. I'll tour their home with them. And at that point, we're going to go through, I usually say something like, let's go through how I do things as an agent. Then we're going to talk about your property value. And then in real time, I'll give you a quote on what you're going to actually have in your bottom line or in your pocket when it's all said and done. Sound good? And then we jump into this. So I say, this is my team's guide to selling your property. I'll do a quick overview. So I'll say, I want to go through our missions and beliefs. This is how we do things as a team. Our marketing plan. This is the meat and potatoes of how we actually get your house sold for top dollar and put money in your pocket. Meet the team. So I want to get them familiar with obviously who's on the back end. So obviously I'll be their agent, or on my team, Caden's another sales agent, and then Sawyer's our operations manager. So kind of introducing what our roles are ahead of time. Track record and results. So how have we actually done this year and how much money we put in our sellers' pockets. Our reputation. So touching on how actually, our clients have actually felt about us after sale. And then process overview. So I do a recap on the closing timeline for sellers just to educate them on what to expect preliminarily. And then we do next steps as a seller to get your home ready to sell. So beliefs and missions, we give you the key to experience real estate the right way. So I always have a script here. We believe when we take care of others first, our needs are in turn taken care of. So we have a guarantee that we don't cost you money, we make you money. And what I mean by that is that our whole goal is to add value in the transaction. So when it's all said and done, you can truly say that you've made more money because of us, not the other way around. We don't want to cost you anything or be, I guess a detriment to this for them. And then I usually jump into finding your buyer. So we say the best marketing plan is one that encompasses areas buyers are already shopping from homes. I'll run them through statistics. So right here, we've got internet. So 52% of buyers in 2020 found their home through the internet. I think it's like 20 something percent through a real estate agent, 29%. And then I'll run them through the other statistics like yard sign, open house, let's say a sign call, next door neighbor, so on. And then I usually finish with, good thing is our marketing plan encompasses all of these, but obviously we're very heavy on the two things that will statistically make you the most money, right? And then I say most agents' marketing plans, another scripting moment. I'll say most agents use what I call the 3P method, right? They put a sign in the yard, they put it on the market, and they pray it sells for top dollar. Don't you feel like you deserve better than that? And usually they'll say yes. And I say, great, well, let's jump into how I actually do things to stand above, most agents. So internet marketing, 1,000 plus websites. We say every website, every app, everywhere. When you list with us, your house would be on at least 1,000 websites. So anywhere you can imagine that, people are going to be able to find homes on the market. Media plan, and I'm going to touch on this at the end, kind of why I structure things this way. It'll make sense. Media plans, we talk about KSL Homes and Facebook Marketplace. So in addition to the MLS and local listing websites, we actually put their home on KSL and Facebook, which is free. But I always just make the joke, most agents are lazy and they're not really trying to do their best on getting your house maximum exposure. And I always make a joke like, I don't know about you, but I buy stuff on KSL all the time I probably shouldn't. Just like me shopping for stupid things, people are going to be looking for real estate on those websites, especially in a market like this when every house sells in about 5 seconds, right? Then I'll talk about targeted advertising. So always make a comment. Do you guys know, like when you're talking about something on your phone, so you get an ad for it? I'll usually reference that KW has the ability to essentially track their social media with targeted ads that will obviously put their listing in front of people. And that's obviously something that we pay for. I tell them that we build a custom website, which is just a landing page on command, but I pitch it as if it's a click funnel, right? So I say, up top here, we've got a carousel of photos for your listing. We've got some basic specs, a description that I write, more in detailed specs, additional photos, where it's at on a map, and then finally a call to action. And I'll usually tell them that this is the link that we're going to share when we post your home on social media, because we don't want to send them to a website like Zillow or Utah Real Estate where the buyer is able to look at 50 other houses. We want to know if they're in or they're out. And this final call to action is what allows us to do that. And it helps us capture that lead. And then I say, and if they want to see the house, then I'll schedule a time with them to check it out. Other unique marketing. So I talk about open houses. I say we've created a pressure-free environment with our open houses that allow buyers to view your home. In addition to that, we present our listings to over 100 top agents in Utah at our team meeting every week, which allows me to pre-market your house to my peers. And then high quality professional photography. So Caden on my team's a wizard with design. So you can see he's thrown in. We use Taylor Raymond, and we were able to get some of the photos he's taken for listings for us in the past and actually include them in our listing packet. So throughout it looks aesthetic. And then we say why. So this is the part where I just basically looked at seller cold in the face and I say, the reason that we want to have a marketing plan such as ours is because the more eyeballs we can put on your property, that means the more feet in the door, the more offers in hand, and ultimately more money in your pocket. Don't you think you deserve a marketing plan like this? Obviously, they're going to say yes. So I say, great, let's continue. Our results for the year so far. So Stephanie, one thing that the reason she had me do this is because I'm very statistic focused. So I try to show people, not tell them how great we are, right? So I do that in 2 ways. In our listing packet, we've got to update these. We've got 4 featured listings that our team has sold in the last year. And I've got stats for each one of them so they can look at individual. And sometimes depending on the area, like a couple of either Utah County, one Salt Lake County, I'll actually tell the story about them and I'll just give you guys an example of one. So this house right here was a house in Taylorsville that I sold, and it was actually legally turned into a duplex. Well, the concern is if you're doing a conventional loan or FHA loan and an appraiser comes out and sees that there's no staircase going into the basement, they're going to flag it and they're not going to allow that person to get a loan. So when I sat down with my client, we had to come up with a plan on where we could list the home to have enough traffic to get a buyer who could either pay cash or waive appraisal, but still make him above market value. And that's exactly what we did. So we actually were able to find a buyer who was a conventional buyer who planned on using this as a rental, as my seller did, and not have to do an appraisal. So we're able to avoid the zoning regulation and still close it at a high purchase price with a financed offer. And then I'll usually use that as an example of like creative, strategy to get stuff sold. And then I'll go through this. So our average listed sales price last year was 102%. What that actually means to my client is the average net above list was $34,000 in the seller's pocket. Our average days on market for our listings were 5 days. and our average closing timeline was 20 days. So I try to illustrate that not only do we make them top dollar, but we do it in a short period of time. So their house isn't going to be shown for weeks on end. Reputation, we sell 1 to 2 houses a week and our clients are happy. I usually, cherry pick some good reviews there. I've got a couple from like my Edge Homes agent, my carpet cleaner, for example, and then one's like from an 82-year-old man, just to like illustrate. We work with a lot of different people, and even our professionals that we work with are happy. We've got our team here, so I illustrate what each of our individual roles are and how that benefits the sellers through the process. Next steps, I illustrate what we do. So I tell them I cover photography, I cover deep cleaning and carpet cleaning. So I'm going to coordinate that. My admin or my operations manager will send them deadlines ahead of time once we go under contract, and then also the schedule for when photos will be done, cleaning will be done, so on. And then I say for them, the 3Ds, I stole this from Clay Winder in that Win with Sellers class. So the 3Ds of real estate, depersonalize, deep clean, declutter. Those are the simplest ways a client can get their house ready to make top dollar. And I tell them about it. And, obviously deep clean we take care of. I just ask they keep it clean enough through showings so it's presentable. And then I'll say, okay, great. How does all that sound? Any questions? Or is there anything else that I didn't mention that you want your agent to do in marketing your home? No? Great. Let's move on. So I'd love to talk to you about the value of your home. So then I'll go through my comps, right? And I'll illustrate. So normally what I do when I pull comps is obviously look at the market, but I'll actually call each of those agents on the comp list, especially if they're under contract, and get an illustration of how it went. So I can actually tell them a story with each one, not only to set expectations for them, like this fully remodeled house out on the market 10 days, yours definitely isn't remodeled. That's going to affect how we price it. I'll try to use those things kind of as an indicator, trying to push them a certain way and where they think they should be. And then normally I'll obviously show them what the adjusted total is, but I'll actually write 3 different pricing amounts. So, I have a house in Pleasant Grove I was going to tell you guys about that's coming up, but it's needs a lot of work. So I gave them 3 prices. I said, do you want to leave it as is? Do you want to do paint carpet? Or do you want to do, and I actually stole that because of Becca, she helped me with that, paint and carpet, or do you want to remodel it? Here's the 3 areas I think we could sell it for, which is better for you. They chose that. We moved on. And then afterwards, usually they'll ask at some point in the process, what do you charge, right? That's usually a pretty common question. So I'll always illustrate in real time our brokerage versus other brokerages. And 90% of the time I pick on Homey because they're easy. So I actually pull the stats from Utah Real Estate. I'll highlight them and I'll leave a note. So what this says is, year over year for the last 12 months, Homey has sold their listings for 101.2% across the company, right? Keller Williams, our office in particular, has sold it at 103.6%. So I let them know. What I'm basically showing you here is I'm actually 2.4% less expensive than they are. So not only are you going to get the best service, but you're going to make top dollar. And my personal statistics actually outpace our brokerage by about 6%. So I'm 8 to 9% less expensive than Homey, right? And I always just use them because they pick on us with their marketing. And most people, when I say, have you heard of Homey? They go, yeah, you've probably seen their billboards. Yeah. Well, let me illustrate how they're actually not less expensive and how they're going to undersell your home. And then I actually do a net sheet on the spot. So I don't actually ever really answer, what do you charge? I do a net sheet and I say, how does this sound? And 90% of the time it's at a 6% commission. And 90% of the time they say, sounds great. And I say, cool, let's do it. I sign the papers. Now, because after talking to some other top agents, and obviously with people objecting occasionally, I'll usually use the buyer's agent commission as a negotiation point. I charge 3, but I recommend you offer at least 2 to 3%. Here's why. And since I started doing that, even then most sellers have picked 3% because they understand the value of incentivizing agents to go absolutely, ape crazy to make an offer on the home with their client. So the reason, I know I talk kind of quick, you guys have questions about individual steps, we can go through them, but the reason I go through this process is because I try to get to the point by the end of it, there's really no objection because I've tried to cover as much as possible, but also I lead it in a way where it's like momentum based, right? Where I'm getting to the close. And then, even after I present net, 90% of the time I have them sign the wire fraud, MLS exclusion first. So by the time they get to the listing packet, they're already in the process. It's not like, here's some big scary document to sign. It's like, here's wire fraud, here's MLS exclusion, and then here's the contract to hire me. And, I would say my conversion rate's like 80%. There's occasional times that it doesn't work, but even then, a lot of times through follow-up, I can still snag those. So any questions? I know I talked about a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Riley. Questions, anybody? Put you on the mic. Okay, got water.
Oh, thank you.
So do you take paper, like you physically sign papers?
Yep. I do that for a few
Cool.
reasons, because I think a lot of the time, well, at least in my experience, I will DocuSign stuff occasionally, but a lot of time people will use as as an excuse. Well, let me just look over it and I'll sign them later tonight, kind of thing. I try to just have them in person, and I even use the on the listing agreement. It says, I can't think of it right now, like whatever, but essentially electronic transmission, I think is what it says, right? The section of the listing agreement that talks about electronic signatures. I'll even use that as an example, and I'll say, okay, obviously first appointment, I'm always going to bring stuff in paper so we can look over it. But from here on, everything else will be in DocuSign. Is that a problem? Nope. Okay, sweet. So I like that because I think that it's more real. And also, like, I personally don't like presenting on technology. I like giving them something they can actually touch and feel. And I would say it goes fairly well, but that's just me.
So which documents exactly are you having them
he's-
sign on the spot?
All like the listing packet. So like we do an MLS exclusion, we do wire fraud, obviously ERS, and we usually have an ERS addendum as well.
Cool.
But yeah, I usually don't do like a DocuSign unless it's like a really awesome client who's just like, you don't even have to present to me. I'm cool. I'm like, cool, here's the papers, but like 90% of the time it's not the case.
Cool. Any other questions? I had
I got a
one.
question.
Oh, on Zoom. Go for it.
Hi, so how do you present these papers do you have like a script how to present and go through the paper, and how much time does it take you to go through these papers before they sign?
I would say it depends. I'm a talker, and a lot of my clients, like I try to build that relationship with them. So most of the listing appointment is spent just like shooting the breeze with them, to be honest, especially older people. Like I've been in an older person's house for like 3 hours, but I'm just building that relationship. But like the actual presentation, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and it depends. There are some people, like I had one in Pleasant Grove last week. It was like a half hour in and out. And there's other people I go talk with, and just because I'm trying to get to know them and, obviously build rapport, I could be there for hours just because I'm just, it's maybe not the most efficient thing, but by the time I leave, they're a friend, they truly do trust me and are excited to work with me either way most of the time, but taking that extra time sometimes does help to solidify that relationship.
That's great. And I think when you do that with clients, those are the people who send you the referrals and the repeat business, because it's not just like get it done. You're actually building that relationship, which is awesome.
100%.
More questions? Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you print this out when you present it, or is this electronic?
I print it out. So usually, and I even like I'm strategic even how I put maybe I analyze things too much, but even like the KW folder. So I get one from Carla every time I listing appointment, and even the way I layer the papers in the packet is strategic. So I'm pulling things out at times when I want to. I'm not just going to open up a folder and have comps and a commission agreement up front. I try to layer it so it's like I'm going to gradually get to the scary stuff with people, because they know why you're there, right? Like they do, but to try to like build that value and let them know like ahead of time transparently, here is what I actually do. By the time you get to that, most of them are sold at that point and ready to roll, in my opinion. So
Do you print it yourself, or do you have a company print it?
I print it. I honestly just print it here at the office on like
Just on
some
regular
basic
paper?
paper. Yeah, I don't even care. And I've never had anybody like look down upon it. I guess I could make it prettier, but I don't know that it's completely necessary. And we have a PDF copy of it, or like an online presentation format. But I've always just liked doing it in paper, especially with older people. They're not super tech savvy. That can kind of scare them. Yeah, and a lot of times too, I can always leave the packet at their house too, like outside of the listing docs. Like if you have any questions on this, let me know. And I feel like it just makes them feel more personable, to me. But that could
great.
change.
Cool. Any other questions?
Yep.
Okay. Let's give it up for Riley. Thank
Thanks,
you,
guys.
Riley. Okay, Peter. Do you want this mic or this mic?
So I do have a question for Riley, though. I want to know kind of what the source of most of your listing leads is. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so what Riley's saying is that originally it was a lot of cold leads, cold calling, that kind of thing, but he's now transitioning, having been in the business a while, to a lot of repeat and referral from his database. So I want to talk today a little bit about generating listing leads and just a few things that I've done. I would probably say the top 2 things I've done over the last 12 months that have ensured that we have a relatively steady stream of listing leads. The listings definitely are few and far between these days, It seems like people are nervous to put their home on the market if they can't find something. So we all know we're in a low inventory environment. So I think the number one thing that I've done is been consistent with communicating with my database. And something that I started doing, I want to say about 4 or 5 months ago, is individually messaging people and saying, hey, are you curious what your home might be worth? And then sending them an unsolicited CMA. So that unsolicited CMA, and I'm doing about 3 a week. I probably should ramp that up, but an unsolicited CMA, now don't send a CMA if you suck at CMAs, learn to do CMAs first, okay? And don't spend 4 hours doing a CMA either. Really refine that skill, but I think that an unsolicited CMA, they might not be thinking about making a move or they've considered it, but it might jar that idea loose. And it's great practice, keeps you on top of what's happening in the market, but an unsolicited CMA is a great way. And then we have just built a database over the last 18 years where we've consistently communicated with them. Now, if you have not been consistently communicating with your database, the best time to start is today. So go on Facebook, see whose birthday it is and call them. Don't message them on Facebook. Phone them and say, hey, I saw on Facebook it was your birthday. I wanted to wish you happy birthday. How are things? Reconnect with them. So if I had to do from a social media standpoint, the number one thing I've done over the last year or two is calling people off of something that's happening on social media. So it's kind of like I see it happening on social media, but I go old school, call them on. Because when you look at those 7 layers of communication, voice to voice is substantially more impactful in building a relationship. So obviously I'm taking a step back. We're talking about how do you get those listing leads in the first place? Unsolicited CMAs and social media, calling them when there's an event. So if it's their birthday, that's something I do every day on my way to work. Before I leave, I'm like, whose birthday is it today? And then I call them on my drive to work. That's like a third of my lead gen taken care of on my drive. It's really, it's impactful and it makes a difference. As far as the listing presentation goes, one thing that I've started to do, and I've been doing this for a few years now, I didn't do it on Saturday, but we're into listing, is I send a pre-listing packet. The pre-listing packet is probably the thing that has done 2 things. Shortened my listing presentation. So it's taken it from maybe an hour and a half down to about 30 to 40 minutes. And it sets you apart if you're competing and you don't know it. So sometimes you're competing for a listing and you don't know it. I got a referral from someone on my team who is out of state. So I thought, oh, it's a slam dunk. They're going to sell and they're going to buy. Sent the pre-listing package just via email as a matter of course, only to find out a week earlier, they had interviewed someone who used to be at this brokerage that is now at another brokerage and is a top agent. I mean, as far as class, poise, experience, she trumps me. And like, I still got the listing. And the reason is because they were impressed by the fact that I sent a pre-listing package. So it definitely helps with, people want 2 things. They want competence and they want confidence in the person they're working with. And that really helped establish some competence before I even showed up.
Peter, can you share just a few things that you send in that pre-listing packet?
I don't send the CMA. So that's number one, don't include a CMA. Because part of your value is being able to interpret that data. And you haven't seen the house yet, right? So you can't be perfect in what that CMA is. So for the example, as unsolicited CMAs, those are very broad. It's a range. But when I'm going to listing appointment, that CMA I bring with me. So what was your question? Sorry. What's in the pre-listing package?
Yeah, what are you sending?
So I'm sending mostly about what we like, testimonials, our marketing plan, what we do for people, kind of some things that deep clean, declutter, depersonalize. I think we've all stolen that from Clay. That's in our pre-listing package. So it's probably, what would you say? It's about 12 pages long, 14 pages long. And it's a PDF / Google Slides. So if they want to just look through that. And then at the appointment, I go through a cloud CMA, talk about some of the things in there. And then I think I included one slide. Did you put that in, Josh? So something that this is probably the biggest change I've made in the last 12 months in how I approach commissions and in how I approach that commission objection. When I am with people, I personally love being given choices because I feel like that empowers the consumer. So if I'm going to lose a listing to a discount brokerage, I want to prevent that from happening. So I no longer negotiate on price as much as I negotiate on value. Now, this isn't the exact one we use, but it's pretty similar. I give people the choice and I say to them, hey, because they'll like, if they bring up, you know, otherwise we just do a standard 6% commission. But if there's a commission objection, I say, well, I like to give people choices because I feel like you need to know what you're paying for. So if they say, oh, well, Brokerage Blue will do it for $3,000 plus a buyer's agent commission. I'll say, okay, now what are they including in that? I don't know. Well, let me tell you what we include. And then I start going through all the things that we include. So the principle is negotiate on value, not on price. What do you do for the money that you earn? So for example, in tough situations, I've even said, if you'll sign the listing agreement this evening, our team is running a special right now where we cover your title insurance as part of the transaction. Would you rather shell out $1,800 and pay their title policy and get the listing than not get the listing? So for me, I would rather negotiate on value and add a service than lower my price. So the 5, 6, 7 thing is something that I got from Dean a number of years ago, and then I've kind of fleshed it out. But the idea is there are some people that they only see the sticker, they only see the price, and that's what they're going to get for that price potentially. So who's got questions about this approach? I'm not saying this is the only approach, but I found this has gotten me the deal in the bag 99% of the time, especially when they're like dead set on using a discount brokerage.
Peter, what's a mega open house?
It's a regular open house with balloons.
No.
I'm not joking. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you want me to touch on that?
You can touch on that.
Okay, so
She
if
does
you
my
did-
mega open houses.
yeah,
often.
I do.
So
So
does
I'm on
Kim.
Peter's team, and open houses are just my thing. So basically, the idea we tell our clients, look, we want to get as many people in the door at the same time so they see each other. Like, how powerful is it when 40 to 80 people? I think I had 100 at the DeBells or the Smiths.
Cobblestone, yeah.
On Cobblestone in Springville last summer. That is so powerful. I couldn't believe how many offers were rolling in and like that day. And I tell my clients that story. Look, this is what happens when they see each other. And the fence sitters who are like, I want to take the weekend to think about it. Like, they get to that open house, they're like, oh crap, I've got to get my offer in like right now. And they not only do that, but they put their best foot forward because they see how much competition there is. And those are the ones where we're getting offers like 80 grand over, 100 grand over. So it's really, really powerful. So we hold all showings until that day. So we're going live, what, like Tuesday, Wednesday, giving people a few days, holding all showings, making exceptions every now and again. Like, I had a realtor who had a funeral and couldn't bring his client on Saturday. So we let him in, but very, very few and far between exceptions. And everyone else is coming that day. We do Facebook ads, we do KSL ads, signs all over the place.
And kind of the way I pitch it to my clients is we're using old school marketing and new school marketing. We're doing open houses, which is something people have been doing for 100 years in real estate. But we're not just putting a few signs up to drive traffic to that. We're advertising it on social media and these kinds of things. And it goes on like, all these different Facebook pages and that kind of thing. And it really does make a difference. KSL, and by driving traffic to that open house, you really do set yourself apart, because I will ask them point blank, does your discount brokerage do these open houses? What if you do a discount brokerage, how would you manage the open house? See, now they're asking themselves 100 questions and they're like, oh crap, I don't know what I'm doing. I just need to work with a professional. So
Yeah, and in
Sorry,
this
Riley.
market especially, I mean, you can just ask the seller, do you want to be one of those homes that gets offers 30 to 40 grand over? Or do you want to get 80 to 100 grand over list price? Because that's what happens. Like, that's the power of the mega open house. So, question? Hang on, let me bring the mic. Like, you're right.
It's funny that you bring this up because we had just talked about it. We found my old listing presentation, which had this exact same strategy. I went away from it temporarily. Maybe eventually I'll re-include it. But the thing that I struggled with early on, this helped me a lot, especially for sell by owners, because when I would go sit down with them, it was kind of a yes, yes, or yes choice, not a, oh, this is too much, or no. Most of the time, like you say, it really does give them an option. It makes them feel like either way, they're going to say yes to a point. The thing that I struggle with is I have a very hard time holding back what I provide to my client, like even from a financial standpoint. And so I would find myself, even if they said I'll do 5%, it was
still providing that.
pretty arbitrary because I was like, I'm not going to let your house sit, like, especially back in like 2019 market was a little different, right? But I don't want to let their house sit on the market if I didn't do whatever above and beyond was at the time in my ability, So how do you differentiate and not feel guilty for not being like a standard value across the way? Does that make sense?
Yeah, the reality is I don't. Like, sometimes I end up offering something that's there, just because I want to get the house sold and I want to, like, my name's attached to that, right?
Yeah.
But I also don't want some discount brokerage getting the listing.
Either way you feel like,
Yeah.
way you feel like it's just a way to get them to
Yeah.
say yes and figure it out essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are some things, I'm not going to do multiple open houses when I've done a discount listing, right? And also it comes down to pricing. So we have a marketing discussion, a pricing discussion, and a timing and motivation discussion. Those are my 3 elements of a listing presentation. What do we do to market your home? Like, this kind of stuff, what we're going to do to really, make your listing pop. But the most important thing is motivation. So I have someone whose home I'm listing, he's only owned the home a year. And I was like, well, and so I talked to him. I was like, well, why didn't you hold on to it as a rental? We walked through all the different fiduciary, and he'd used Homey before, then used me as a buyer's agent, and now he's using me as a listing agent. And for him, it just makes the sense to sell, even though he's only been there a year. So we talked about, tax implications, those kinds of things. And he is one of those people that has confidence, and he is aware of my competence. And I think he just will never use a discount brokerage again because he's seen the benefits. So, yeah, but he did choose the lower package, and we are giving him just those things. So, yeah, Dennis.
When you list one for the gold, what is the BAC on that one?
I still do 3% on that. This is almost something that hardly ever happens, but it's usually, I started this when I was doing short sales many years ago, where I would do a higher percentage because the bank store is going to try and negotiate it down. But this is, if I can tell on the front end, it's going to be a lot of drama. And I just tell them, look, your home hasn't been through probate yet. You're trying to sell it. It's still like there's all these title issues. And I usually check the abstract before I go to the listing appointment. And so I'll sometimes tell them, look, if you select this and it turns out there are problems, we may have to bump the commission, but there'll be an addendum to sign. And I've actually got a situation right now where I'm probably going to have to call them and say, hey, we're going to have to raise the commission, but they'll do it because they're seeing the value I bring. And it's a very, very complicated situation. So, yeah.
But you're not sharing. I
In
mean,
that
you're not going
situation,
half and
yeah,
half
yeah.
with
I mean,
the buyer.
sometimes I do, because
Oh, yeah.
sometimes we're offering a little extra because you're trying to keep the buyer on the hook, and almost always that then is going to some kind of concession for the buyer. So sometimes that's what happens. So,
Any other questions? Cool. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Peter. Give it up for Peter. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, this is just a little thing, but thank you for coming to team meeting on a day when half of our brokerage is out of town. Check under your seats. There's just a few little gift cards hidden around. I taped 3 of them. And if you're lucky enough to sit, Kevin's on the hunt. If you're lucky enough to sit next to a seat that is unoccupied, you can check under there. And let me know if you want. Let me know if you find one. Yes, and then we're gonna have Ibex, yes. Okay, while you're searching. Okay, Doug with Real Advantage has a quick announcement, and then we're gonna turn time over to Adam Boswell with Ibex.
Doesn't look like anybody found anything.
Did anyone find them? I found one.
Oh, okay.
Alexi, Hummel,
Nice.
Kim, Liz. All right, thank you for coming.
All health food stores.
Come in the t-shirt too.
Doug from Real Advantage Tile right next door. Just want to remind you, March 17th, I saw you guys are doing a March Madness theme too. March 17th, open house, food, games will be on our TVs. Come watch right here in this building, 11:30 to 2. They forced me to put a time period on there. I told them all day, dude, game's going all night. So whatever, there'll be enough food for you if you want to stay late. Bring your family too.
Okay, March 17th, thank you. Okay, Adam with Ibex.
Hey, just real quick, I know I've been here a couple times recently and probably all heard my spiel, but I just want to let you know this week, last week on Thursday, our owners and people that answer the phone, we meet on a regular basis. And the goal of that is to talk about how we can become better as far as customer service and quicker. I just want you to know at Ibex, there's weekly meetings that go on. We have our contractors, I don't know if you guys know this, but our contractors work for Ibex. So they don't have other customers or clients that they need to go out to. So when a plumber goes out, we don't have to worry about them going out to do other jobs. They can just do the Ibex job. So that's one of the ways that we're able to be quicker and faster. Also, a couple of things this week that just so you kind of know, I've showed this before. I really want to emphasize this of how great of an idea I believe that we have is this page is everything in yellow is 100% covered. I had a couple of people, these last few weeks call up and ice makers aren't typically covered under a home warranty plan. At Ibex, the refrigerator's in yellow. So every piece, component, drawer, light bulb, it doesn't matter. It's all 100% covered. So if it's in yellow, it's covered. Also, I had a call the other day. The home warranty company went out to scope the sewer line and went to the foundation wall and stopped and then pulled it back out and didn't push the plug that was 15 feet out into the yard into the street. Ibex will always do that. We'll go all the way out to the street. So just want to make sure you kind of know those differences a little bit about us. Okay, and that's enough about home warranties. I was asked to do the 222 thing. So, right? So
Oh,
these are
yeah.
for t-shirts. Yeah,
You
everybody
guys know
knows
it's Tuesday,
22.
22 on Tuesday.
So I just kind of did dumb things. I hope you guys are okay. It's so stupid. So this is Hoofer. His favorite fruit is an apple. How many apples are in 22 pounds for the 2-2?
Ooh,
How many apples equal 22 pounds? Medium-sized apples. So they're small, medium, and large. Just
22 medium apples. Who has a guess?
who said 60? Okay, that's close. I'll give you that.
Kevin, 60.
It's 66 apples.
Do you want me to run
Oh,
this
well,
back?
then you get one too.
Okay, cool.
We give one to both of them.
Yeah.
One's a small and one's extra large. That's the only size I have.
Cool.
Okay,
Who has it?
who is not 22 years old? Okay, no, I got to tell you the names. So Zach Wilson, everybody knows him, right? From BYU. Nathan Chen, the Olympic skater. And you got to raise your hand because I can see. And Joe Burrow from the Cincinnati Bengals, who is not 22. You got to raise your hand. I can't tell. Nope. Who said it over here? I can't see. Yep, Joe Burrow is 25.
All right.
So the rest of them are 22. And then last one for last t-shirt. In 1922, so the 2-2 is the 1922, Babe Ruth signed a 3-year contract. How much did he get paid per year in 1922 to play for the Yankees? Nope. Higher than 22. 52, you win. 52,000 a year. So
There we go.
anyway, I have the food back there. Thank you guys. If you haven't used this, please give us a shot. I promise you'll have a great experience. And if you do use this, just want to say thank you very much. And
Very
I
cool.
go get the food ready.
Thank you so much. Give it up for Adam. Thank you for lunch. Little Olive Garden back there. Cool. All right, go to it.